Well, there's a huge game in LaLiga this weekend. The Basque derby, Athletic Club hosting Real Sociedad at the San Mamés. Graham Hunter joins us to look ahead to it. This is a really interesting one. We're going to focus in on a couple of forwards for both of these two teams. Alexander Isak for Real Sociedad, Inaki Williams too for Athletic Club. But let's start with Isak. He's been linked with so many clubs around Europe, an exciting player for the future. What's his form been like of late? Do you think he could translate to, say, the Premier League, where he's been linked with the likes of Arsenal, for example?
I like the way you've done that, because you categorised him as a player for the future. It's immediate for Real Sociedad. But if the really big clubs were to come in and buy him, Real Sociedad will fight like tigers. They're not desperately in need of money. They already fought very hard to get rid of the buyout clause that Borussia Dortmund had when first Isak moved from the Bundesliga up here to LaLiga. The reason I liked your description was this is undoubtedly a talented man. He's naturally really quick. If you go back and look at his stats, his breakthrough, not just for precocity into carrying big responsibility in Swedish football age 16, but also how he handled it. He handled it with the same aplomb that we've become accustomed to Pedri or Gavi handling, or Ansu handling vast responsibility being thrust on them as really junior teenagers. He's not quite their level, I don't think, as a footballer, but he's been cutting it for a long time now. Where there's massive room for development is that he's found the burden of being often the sole striker. Very often it's a 4-2-3-1 formation. Equally, he's the key striker. He's had let's be frank about it, a poor season, a really poor season. That goes beyond his numbers. And I feel sorry for him, because during the qualification part of the Europa League, La Real saw him go into hospital with bad food poisoning. He was there till 2-3 in the morning, got released, got no sleep, and they called on him later that night to play in a match that it just typified what kind of strain is pressed on him. So if big clubs are coming in and trying to buy him, 1, there'll be a fight. 2, yes, you're right, he's talented. But 3, there's a lot of development still to come. And if fans watching this say, well, they might be buying the genuine article, and if fans are super excited because Isak has admitted he modelled his early career on Thierry Henry, well, don't expect that you're even getting the Thierry Henry that came from Juventus. No, not the case. There's a lot of work still to go into Isak's career. And I personally think he should stay in the Basque country for a season or 2 more.
Graham, let me ask about Inaki Williams for Athletic, because I also want to talk to you about the transfer policy for the club, which is so unique and so powerful, I think, for the culture of the club, which is shown in the beautiful video that you've made with Bet365, which everyone needs to go and look at. I'm sure there's a link in the description. If there isn't, there better be, because it's beautiful to watch. But with someone like Inaki Williams, who's a legend there already for the amount of games that he played back to back, you've also got the problem, I guess, of trying to keep this club in La Liga. And so you'd sometimes have to sell these assets as well. How do you feel about him as a player, the possibility of him moving, and then after that, I guess the transfer policy for Athletic, because they need money at times, but they also don't need money because they're able to sort of bring through these kinds of players?
Inyaki's like the wind. I mean, right across our continent, there are wonderfully fleet-footed footballers. But Inaki is just a hurricane when he gets going. And the really sad thing is that he not only doesn't know how to finish innately, he's never shown any real aptitude for learning about finishing. His goal tally is moderate, but if you were to spend time looking at the number of times he's been through on goal, and when gifted time to think, has frozen, has missed a target, hit the goalkeeper, those numbers are far too high. Useful? Yes. Useful because every team hates to defend high, even if that's a policy, with the chance of a through ball to Inaki Williams. La Real, it's the derby weekend, they love to defend high. Inaki, so long as he's fit and picked, will be a massive threat going in behind them. Secondly, really valuable because you talked about his durability. He was edging up towards 250 straight games, which is a Spanish record. It was more than just a testimony to his durability. It was like how important he was, how necessary he was, because his work rate is very, very good. His threat level is high, as I described. So Inaki Williams is undoubtedly thrilling to watch. He will frustrate the hell out of you if you're a percentage man or woman, because he doesn't make enough of what he's given. And as far as Athletic is concerned, for people who don't know, they will only accept either Basque-born or Basque-trained players, which is taken to mean that if you come into the region age 6, 7, and you become part of the Basque system, then that's the only flexibility that they will allow. And it means that they are unique anywhere in the world. Unique. They're extraordinarily proud of themselves. For those who are calculating what that means, it means that if you've got a solution in defense or a goalkeeper attack, you can't go out and sign because there's a brilliant American or South African or Scot coming through. It means that you have to go and find somebody who's born in your region, somebody who might be playing at another club, hugely valuable, and there's a premium on that because the club who might sell to you goes, you want a Basque player? Okay, can you go and find somebody else?
Graham, how do you see the game going then? This is 6th versus 8th, Real Sociedad, only a point outside the top 4. Do you think they can maybe qualify for the Champions League in the long term, and do you make them favourites for this match?
They should have wrapped it up already. They were good enough. They have a sufficiently in-depth squad. That maybe what's been disappointing would be 2 or 3 things. One, they found it really, really hard to cope with a sustained European campaign and staying in the top 4. Notably, they went out of the cup and they had their pants taken down in the Copa del Rey because it was just a bridge too far for them. Monreal for Gunners, the fact that he's been absent all season doesn't simply strip them of a particular position well covered. It strips them of know-how, experience, leadership, and that's been an under-advertised blow in my interpretation of how they play. And go back to your original point, Isak has, listen, if I'm right, the last time I looked, I think it was 3 goals in the league all season. That's deadly poor. It's well underneath his potential, given how much ball he's given, how much quality ball he's given his talents. He should be sitting around somewhere around 12 to 14 goals right now. So you can see how far under XG he is. And therefore, they're letting slip a decent chance to earn huge money by getting into the Champions League. And the guys who've usurped them at the moment probably are Real Betis. We'll come to them another day. But to predict it is tough. It's not the ugliest derby in the world, but it's ultra intense. It's San Mames. There's an even greater desire to thrash La Real than when it's over at the old Anoeta. And therefore, I suspect that it's Athletics to lose. I think it means more to them. I think they have slightly more goal power. But lads, how many times do you use this phrase? So I'm borrowing it. It's a derby.
Yeah, I've got to agree with you on that one, especially when I look at the numbers a little bit and the amount of goals that have been scored by both these teams. The goals aren't really there. So you do believe, I personally believe that this will be very, very close. And I've got to be honest, it stinks of a draw for me. Hugh, what do you think?
Yeah, 1-1. I think they'll both score. And I think it might be played with that sense of passion that I think anyone would look for in a big derby game under the bright lights with the tense atmosphere. And it's an incredible stadium if you've never been and found out more about the club. It's a fantastic place to watch football. I think it will be a draw on this occasion, but I understand exactly where Graham's coming from.
Hi guys, James Alcott here from ESPN's Football Forecast. Thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed the video and you want to check out more, make sure you subscribe to ESPN UK.